Mike Evans versus Devontae. Yeah, Mike Evans versus Devontae Adams. Something interesting. Who's really better? Who would you rather have on your team? Would you want consistency and somebody that showed adversity through or showed prowess through adversity? Or would you want somebody that's kind of been spoon-fed kind of his career and kind of got better as he went, right? Drafted in 2014, both of these guys. Mike Evans was a 7th overall pick in the draft. Y'all remember the guy named Johnny Manziel that won the Heisman as a freshman? First ever was to do it before Jameis Winston did and won a national championship. Johnny Manziel never won a national championship, but Mike Evans was on that team at Texas A&M. If you think about it, he was an absolute demon and had a lot to do with Johnny Manziel's success. Don't let all the aura of Johnny Manziel overcloud why a guy like Mike Evans was chosen 7th overall. Devontae Adams, him and Derek Carr played at Fresno State together, but he was chosen in the 2nd round to the Packers. The Packers already had a stacked wide receiving room for the most part, but playing with Aaron Rodgers kind of makes everything better as well. So you're already pulled into a situation where you had a Hall of Fame quarterback. And let's just go through the list of quarterbacks that Mike Evans has had to play with throughout the years. Josh McCown, Mike Glennon, Jameis Winston, Ryan Griffin, towards the end of his career, the most recently, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. And now he has Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask on the same team. Devontae Adams had Aaron Rodgers and also has had Derek Carr, who's pretty good for the most part, but now with Jimmy Garoppolo, and was also playing with Jared Stidham. So if you look at the situations like that, it kind of opens your brain into like, okay, something ain't right here. Let's get into more of the statistics on. I'm just curious on who everybody would take, because I heard that you can't take Mike Evans because he was injury prone, but Devontae Adams was out a lot, especially before most recently. Mike Evans takes a game or two off here and there, but he still gets 1,000 yards a year, regardless of those injuries. So Mike has had 9 1,000-yard seasons in a row. Devontae Adams has had 4 1,000-yard seasons. They got drafted at the same time now. 83 touchdowns, 10,662 yards for Mike Evans. Devontae Adams, 88 touchdowns to Mike Evans, 83. 9,787 yards compared to Mike Evans, 10.6K in the same time period. I understand the wide receiver situation, but here's where I think Mike makes a difference outside of touchdowns. You need a reliable target to get you a first down every single time. Mike's got you. 538 first downs to Devontae Adams, 484. So let's go through a couple things here. Devontae Adams has proven he can play with bad quarterbacks most recently, but he also had Aaron Rodgers his whole career up to this point, outside of this year and last year. Mike Evans has played with bad quarterbacks his whole entire career, but when he got Brady, they just somehow won a Super Bowl with producing 2 1K seasons again. Let's also think about the fact that Devontae Adams has had pretty good running backs. Jamal Williams was there, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, just to name a few. Name me several running backs that Mike Evans has had that have been consistent. Oh, to add on to the list, Devontae Adams has had Josh Jacobs, who had an incredible year last year. But name me the running backs that Mike Evans has had that have been really good. Leonard Fournette, maybe. I know they got Rashard White right now. it's hard to say. Would you choose Davante Adams' talent over Mike Evans' consistency? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Who's really more game breaking? Mike Evans went, to the Super Bowl and won. Davante Adams has a Super Bowl under his belt too. But who would you rather have? Who's going to make more of an impact if they go to another team right now with a bad quarterback? This goes back to the Daniel Jones situation. If I was the Giants, I'm calling up Tampa Bay and I'm seeing what I can get from Mike Evans. At least having a consistent weapon on that team that has the radius that Mike Evans has. Outside of that, man, that was one thing I did want to bring up about those two. I just thought it was interesting. We had a discussion about that earlier. Mike Evans versus Davante Adams. So it's a pretty good discussion when you really start digging into the statistics and what they've actually done. Like I say, you got to look more than just a box score. Start comparing all that stuff.